Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to look at how you can prepare for hotter races during winter. Now this is kind of a fact in the UK. Often we have generally quite cold winters and they can last quite long, and then suddenly out of nowhere we get hot days in spring, especially when it comes to marathons. Several years London has been quite a hot day, so we want to make sure we can prepare for that to some degree at least. Anyway, obviously we aren't going to get 24 degrees like we would maybe do on race day. We're not going to experience that till well into our taper. However, you can get some kind of gauge of building towards that and some improvement towards that with a few easy tactics. So what we're going to look at is safety first, most of all. Make sure you are drinking plenty. Make sure you're looking after hydration with everything I'm now going to talk you through. That is always number one priority. Health first, then fitness. However, we can make some benefits and really kind of move forward with our preparation for this. Now, we want to prepare the mind and the body. So physically, we're getting better at sweating. We're getting more used to this sensation of being hot. And basically, we're going to get the heart rate going a bit higher. One of the challenges of running in hotter weather is that the heart rate will go slightly higher, the blood pressure will rise. So if we can force that to happen, we may well see some benefits off the back of that. So we can do this in numerous ways. So a really easy way is layer up more clothing. What a lot of people tend to do is to run in maybe a long sleeve t-shirt and maybe don't need to, or add a t-shirt or a jumper on top and then maybe get rid of if they start to suffer a little bit too much. But force this, make it a little bit harder than it potentially needs to be, is a really good tactic. Leggings on, under shorts and stuff like that can be also a really good option. The other thing you can do is basically run in the hotter part of the day where possible. Now, obviously, if you're working 9 to 5 office job, you may well not have the opportunity to do so, apart from maybe some easy runs. Anything is better than nothing. So even if you can't do effort sessions and long ones later on the day for family reasons, for work reasons, just do what you can. If you can run during the middle of the day for your easy runs at lunch at work, great, go for it. If you've got a day off, or if you can do your long runs during the middle of the day, great, go for that during the winter days. You've got a better, safer option because the frost on the ground isn't really such an issue, and you will get that little bit warm weather, typically speaking, which is going to give you some benefit coming into race day. As I record this, we're now suddenly getting warmer weather. We've been sort of 2 or 3 degrees most of the time for several months now, and we're now hitting sort of 12, 13, 14 degrees during the middle of the day. And I'm deliberately delaying my runs later in the middle of the day when it's slightly warmer because the marathon I'm going to run for, it's probably going to be cool, but this is now much more like what I'm going to be running in, so you want to make sure you're prepared. The other thing as well is preparing you for drinking more. Now, a lot of people don't find drinking particularly great on their marathons. They don't tend to drink enough, most people. So if we can get some practice at wanting more fluid and getting used to how we might manage that, whether it be lots of regular sipping, whether it be actually kind of just getting it in and actually it sits okay with us, so we can take in quite a bit. We want to know where those parameters are, so it allows us to set realistic expectations for the marathon. If you're going to somewhere like Spain, and again, it could be a hot day. If you're going to somewhere in the southern hemisphere and it's going to be much warmer, then again you might want to have preparation of this. If you go and you don't know how much you should and can manage in drinking, you're going to make more of a risk on race day. You might end up feeling sick. You might need to take a wee break, which is going to obviously have an impact on your time. Or you might just not drink enough, get dehydrated, and have a really, really rough time of things, either from a time point of view or just feeling really horrible and not enjoying the experience. So a little bit of warmer training is great. The other things you can do, now this is really handy if you've got a treadmill or a bike. Now, yes, obviously those can be quite expensive things. If you've got a turbo trainer indoors or a treadmill, run inside sometimes, train inside sometimes. Whether you have heaters on or whether you just deliberately work indoors a little bit every now and again, just to get your body used to working very, very warm, it's a great idea. And again, it's really safe because you can stop at any point. You haven't got to keep working, keep working, keep working if you don't want to. It's a really great tactic. There's a really good marathon runner, Callum Hawkins, sorry, who a couple of years ago training for one of the marathons, I think it was the World Marathon in 2019. He was training in a shed and he had heaters on. I wouldn't recommend that. That's a bit extreme. However, it shows a good example of how you can prepare for these things, create the similar conditions that you're going to maybe face on race day. Again, I wouldn't recommend sauna suits because they're probably going to have an impact on how you move. And again, they're maybe a little bit too extreme for my liking, but certainly running indoors, you're going to get much, much hotter. So if you can mimic those race conditions to some degree, great preparation. The other part of this as well is salt and hydration. So we mentioned hydration a minute ago, but the salt is also a big factor. Running during the summertime, you're going to lose a lot more salt or in hotter weather. During the winter, you might well not lose that. So we need to find out how much you sweat, how much you lose salt during that sweat as well. And again, mimicking the race conditions can help with that. So that in itself might decide the gels you have, the drinks you have, if you add an electrolyte tablet to some of your drinks, all these little things. And again, the race pack, the hydration pack, if you're planning to run one of those, will stop some of your heat dissipation because it's covering a large part of your back. So you might want to change your strategy based on your experience of running during the hotter part of the day, or certainly warm weather whilst it's cold. So lots of little things, little tactical, technical things aren't crazy, but can really have a big impact on race day. So where you can, train in the warmer parts of the day, maybe wear a little bit extra clothing, but again, keep it safe, keep it really sensible, practice your hydration, and it will give you the best possible chance of running well if the weather is a bit warmer than you expect it to be, or than you've been able to train for. I'm not a big fan of the big kind of abroad training camps and things because they're very expensive. What they are, a rip off, frankly. And again, I've covered that in another video previously. But this is a really cheap, easy way of doing it that you don't have to go away for a week to do. So keep it in mind as something you might want to give a go.